Tell me if Joe Rogan has accepted the invitation for the fight. Have I gotten his attention yet? Because my goal is I want your attention, Joe Rogan. I want to fight you, real tension, real tension. He thought if you just put him in jail, have the Violent Crimes Division, have them come arrest him for a terroristic threat. And the whole time that terroristic threat you thought was a bomb or something inside that box was actually a present back for you. If Seth Rogen, if you have any cousins or brothers or uncles that are black belts in jiu-jitsu trained, I would love a man to man, just a man to a fucking man, challenge you to a fight, an honorable fight. Nobody's gonna die.
So what do you think should happen next to this so-called Liver King, or as I like to call him, the Clown King? Should Joe Rogan take more steps against him? Should he push even?
This is Penal Code 2207 under terroristic threats, Section A. People think this shouldn't be illegal. Some people think this, is something that should be allowed. When you are the king, people are going to try to unseat you. When you are number one at anything in the world.
Tell me if Joe Rogan has accepted the invitation for the fight. Have I gotten his attention yet? Because my goal is I want your attention, Joe Rogan. I want to fight you. Real tension. You just heard the Liver King's own words, and what you're about to discover will shock you. This isn't just another internet drama anymore. We're talking about actual criminal charges, potential jail time, and a legal nightmare that's spiraling completely out of control. The Texas Penal Code 2207, under terroristic threats, Section A, that's what we're dealing with here. Some people think this shouldn't be illegal, but here's the thing. In Texas, it absolutely is. But here's what nobody's talking about. And this is where it gets really interesting. When you are the king, people are going to try to unseat you. When you are number one at anything in the world, there's always someone coming for your throne. And the Liver King? He just made the biggest mistake of his life targeting Joe Rogan. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this situation is about to get much, much worse for him. So you guys are actually watching my videos on my channel. And you might have already found out that the Liver King situation just got worse. But what you probably don't know is that it's getting worse every single day. And I mean literally every single day. There's something new leaking about this guy, and it's creating a perfect storm of legal trouble that he never saw coming. Here's what's really happening behind the scenes. This guy has already ruined his life, and there's nothing left for him. His reputation? Completely destroyed. His image? Getting worse by the hour. But the thing that's really fascinating, and this is something most people miss, is that there's no way his reputation or image is getting any better. In fact, they're getting destroyed more and more every single day. The reason is simple, but it's also terrifying if you're in his position. Many people know that once something is uploaded on the internet, it stays on the internet forever. Right now, as we speak, people are digging out his old things, old conversations, old clips where he said something controversial. They're connecting these old clips to the new incidents and exposing him in ways that are absolutely devastating. This isn't just harming his public image anymore. This is making his legal case incredibly crucial and potentially catastrophic. And here's the kicker. Legal Mindset just reacted to his latest clip, revealing exactly how this guy's situation just got exponentially worse. What I'm about to show you will explain not just what's going to happen to him legally, but also reveal the shocking truth about his real motivations and the multi-million-dollar scheme that started this whole mess. Let's get to the educational part, because this is where things get absolutely serious. The Texas Penal Code 2207 under terroristic threats, Section A, this is what's going to potentially destroy the Liver King's life. And here's what most people don't understand about this law. This person commits an offense if he threatens to commit. Notice something crucial here? The law says threatens to commit. It doesn't say he has to actually commit the act. Just the threat itself is enough to land you in serious legal trouble. This is a game changer, And it's exactly why the Liver King is in such deep water right now. Legal Mindset broke this down perfectly, and what they revealed should terrify anyone thinking about making similar threats. According to Texas law, this involves violence against a person or property with the intent to harm. The Liver King didn't just cross a line, he obliterated it. And here's the part that makes it even worse. There's another section of the law about putting any person in fear of imminent serious bodily harm. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The Liver King's intention was crystal clear from day one. He has publicly said multiple times that he wants to fight Joe Rogan. Not once, not twice, but repeatedly. There's no confusion here, no room for interpretation. His actions aren't just shady, they're criminal. But wait, it gets worse. Some people think this shouldn't be illegal. Some people think this kind of behavior should be allowed under free speech. But here's the reality check. In Texas, it's not allowed. That's just Texas law, and the Liver King is about to learn this lesson the hard way. So what's the punishment? This is classified as a Class B misdemeanor, and the consequences are more serious than most people realize. We're talking about up to 180 days in jail, a fine of up to $2,000, or both. That's 6 months of his life potentially gone, plus thousands of dollars in fines. But here's the plot twist that nobody saw coming. There's an update that the Liver King's legal team is desperately trying to get the charges reduced. They're scrambling, and there's talk about a restraining order that might require him to stop mentioning Joe Rogan's name online entirely. This is controversial because of free speech rights, but honestly, I can't agree with the free speech argument at all in this case. Why? Because there are still countless clips out there where the Liver King openly says Joe Rogan's name in threatening contexts. The evidence is overwhelming, it's public, and it's damning. This isn't about free speech anymore, this is about criminal behavior that crossed every possible line. And the legal system is finally catching up with him. Now, let me show you something that will make your skin crawl. This isn't just about one isolated incident. This is about a disturbing pattern of escalation that reveals the Liver King's true character. And what you're about to see proves that this guy has zero boundaries and even less respect for basic human decency. Tell me if Joe Rogan has accepted the invitation for the fight. Have I gotten his attention yet? Because my goal is I want your attention, Joe Rogan. I want to fight you. Real tension. Real tension. You just heard it straight from his mouth. But that's not even the worst part. This guy actually said he wants to see Joe Rogan choke him out. He genuinely believes Joe Rogan can't choke him no matter what. That level of delusion is staggering, but it gets worse. He made these comments specifically to provoke and grab more attention. Listen to this disturbing clip. If you choke me out, and if you don't choke me out, these other limbs will be interesting. Should be very interesting. That's the PS. What kind of person talks like this? This isn't normal competitive banter. This is someone who's completely lost touch with reality and basic social boundaries. But here's what really shows you the depth of his obsession and desperation. The Liver King tried to meet Joe Rogan in person. He didn't just make online threats, he actively pursued him in real life. He even asked multiple friends of Joe Rogan to help him get on the podcast. Think about that for a second. He was so desperate, so obsessed with getting Joe Rogan's attention, that he was reaching out to Rogan's personal friends and trying to manipulate his way onto the show. But here's where Joe Rogan showed his true character. He didn't care at all. He completely rejected the Liver King's advances. And Joe Rogan even revealed this publicly, saying, "Front row at one of my shows in Vegas at the MGM. Yeah. And then I saw him again at the Canelo. He was trying really hard to get on the podcast, and he's been trying really hard to get on now. He contacted a few friends of mine. I completely appreciate Joe Rogan for that decision. If Joe Rogan had let his ego win and invited the Liver King on his show, it would have been a massive win for this manipulator. And here's why that matters more than you might think. But the most disturbing part? The Liver King dragged Joe Rogan's family into this mess. He always says, "I fight for my family," but if that's true, then why would he disrespect someone else's family? The hypocrisy is staggering. He made comments about Joe Rogan's relatives, challenging them to fights, showing a complete lack of respect for boundaries that any decent person would never cross. This pattern of escalation, from online threats to real-life stalking to involving family members, shows someone who's completely out of control and potentially dangerous. Now here's where this story takes a turn that will absolutely blow your mind. This wasn't just about ego or attention-seeking. This was about money, serious money. The Liver King had a calculated, multi-million-dollar scheme, and Joe Rogan was the key to unlocking it all. Let me break down the numbers that will shock you. Joe Rogan's podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, has around 14.5 million followers. To put that in perspective, even TED Talks, one of the biggest educational platforms in the world, has less than 10 million followers. That gap shows just how massive Joe Rogan's reach really is. But here's what makes this even more significant. Joe Rogan's audience isn't just large, it's incredibly engaged and loyal. We're talking about mostly American citizens who follow him passionately. You could even say madly. These aren't casual listeners, these are people who trust Joe Rogan's recommendations and act on them. So here's the Liver King's real plan, and it's more sinister than most people realize. If he could have somehow gotten onto Joe Rogan's podcast, it was evident that he could walk away with multi-million dollars worth of orders for his products. Not just thousands, we're talking millions. But here's the kicker that exposes the entire scam. Many people in the comments have already said his products don't actually work. His supplements don't contain the things he claims can benefit your health or body. This guy was literally planning to use Joe Rogan's platform to sell fake products to millions of trusting people. Think about the scale of this deception. The Liver King used to be so popular that people like Logan Paul and Patrick Bet-David invited him to their podcasts. Almost everyone except Joe Rogan gave him a platform. And this is one of the biggest reasons why the Liver King got extensive attention he definitely did not deserve. But Joe Rogan saw right through him. Rogan recognized that this wasn't about legitimate business or genuine content creation. This was about exploitation. The Liver King wanted to get Joe Rogan's audience to buy his fake products, and he was willing to do anything, including making criminal threats, to make that happen. Here's what Legal Mindset revealed about his true motivations. When you are the king, people are going to try to unseat you. When you are number one at anything in the world, you always have to deal with everybody coming for you. The Liver King's real intention was to create controversy, grab attention, and flip his entire scandal in his favor in one viral moment. He thought he could manipulate the situation, use Joe Rogan's platform, and walk away with millions while selling worthless products to innocent people. But that plan backfired spectacularly. He fell right into his own trap, and now he's facing criminal charges instead of cashing million-dollar checks. The scheme that was supposed to make him rich is now the evidence being used against him in court. What we're witnessing with the Liver King isn't just criminal behavior, it's the complete psychological breakdown of someone who's lost everything and is desperately clawing for relevance. And what Legal Mindset revealed about his mental state should concern everyone watching this unfold. According to Legal Mindset, the consequences could get exponentially worse for the Liver King because repeated threats like this are very likely to continue. Here's why. The Liver King is clearly seeking validation. And guys like him don't stop easily. This is a crucial psychological insight that explains everything we've seen. The Liver King isn't just making threats, he's addicted to the attention those threats generate. Every time he mentions Joe Rogan's name, every time he makes another outrageous statement, he gets a hit of that validation drug he's desperately craving. But here's where it gets really disturbing. Right now, the Liver King has zero remorse. Zero. He's not apologizing, he's not backing down, and he's not showing any signs of understanding the gravity of his situation. Instead, he's trying to bounce back and twist what he said. Look at this recent statement. This guy, he thought if you just put him in jail, have the Violent Crimes Division, have them come arrest him for a terroristic threat. And the whole time that terroristic threat you thought was a bomb or something inside that box was actually a present back for you. Do you see what he's doing here? He's trying to reframe criminal threats as presents. This level of delusion and manipulation is exactly why Legal Mindset said that normally, it's best to publicly ignore clout chasers, but when it turns into criminal behavior, it should go straight to law enforcement. People keep saying he has mental issues, and while that might be true, it's absolutely no excuse for this behavior. Mental health struggles don't justify criminal threats, stalking, or harassment. And they certainly don't justify dragging innocent family members into your delusional schemes. Here's what really reveals his character. If Seth Rogen, if you have any cousins or brothers or uncles that are black belts in jiu-jitsu trained, I would love a man-to-man, just a man-to-man challenge you to a fight, an honorable fight. Nobody's going to die. Notice how he's still making threats while claiming they're honorable. This is classic manipulative behavior, wrapping aggression in the language of respect and honor. But there's nothing honorable about threatening someone's family members. Legal Mindset made a crucial recommendation. Joe Rogan should push for the strongest restraining order possible, at least for now. And I completely agree with that assessment. If Rogan actually does it, it'll finally make the Liver King face real consequences for his actions. The psychological profile we're seeing here is of someone who's completely disconnected from reality, addicted to attention, and willing to escalate to criminal behavior to get what he wants. This isn't just about internet drama anymore. This is about a potentially dangerous individual who needs to be stopped before he escalates further. So, what do you think should happen next to this so-called Liver King, or, as I like to call him, the Clown King? We've just uncovered a story that goes far deeper than most people realize. This isn't just about internet threats or social media drama. We're looking at criminal charges, a multi-million-dollar scam, psychological manipulation, and a pattern of escalation that could have serious real-world consequences. Should Joe Rogan take more steps against him? Should he push even harder, like Legal Mindset suggested? Here's what I think. Absolutely. The Liver King has shown zero remorse, zero understanding of boundaries, and zero respect for the law. He's dragged family members into his delusions, made repeated criminal threats, and tried to manipulate his way into scamming millions of people. What could the future hold for this guy if he keeps running his mouth? Based on everything we've seen, the legal consequences are just the beginning. His reputation is destroyed beyond repair, his business is in ruins, and now he's facing potential jail time. But here's the scary part. People like this don't usually stop until they're forced to stop. The pattern we've identified shows someone who's addicted to attention and willing to escalate to get it. That's why Legal Mindset's recommendation for the strongest possible restraining order makes perfect sense. It's not just about protecting Joe Rogan. It's about preventing this situation from escalating into something even more dangerous. What do you think his next move will be? And what should Rogan do about it? Let me know your thoughts down below. Will the Liver King finally face real consequences, or will he find another way to manipulate the system? And more importantly, what does this case teach us about the dangers of unchecked social media behavior and the real-world consequences of online threats? This story is far from over, and I'll be following every development. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss the next chapter in this unfolding legal drama. Because something tells me the Liver King's troubles are just getting started.